We are back with Hearthstone Grandmasters for the Americas region as we go into our third series, the winners finals between Eddie and bloodyface, a matchup which I'm pretty sure at this point might be one of the most common that we see in competitive Hearthstone for the Americas region in particular. If you think about some of the most iconic of ones over time, it was used to be like, Firebat versus Reynad, like in early days of Hearthstone. Now it's pretty much going to be players like bloodyface going up against Eddie, going up against Language Hacker. So it's been kind of fun to see the region and the rivalries develop. And as much as they also are rivals, they also are practice partners. And so we shall see who comes out on top in this best of three to determine who goes to Sunday.
Yeah, and they kind of have an interesting dynamic. I actually interviewed both of them last week. And they talked about their relationship together, how they're practice partners, but they both kind of see it as a teacher-student relationship where bloodyface is the teacher and Eddie is the student. And their work ethic, as from both their perspectives, kind of matches that. Whereas bloodyface, he doesn't think that he's a very instinctive player, and he needs a lot of reps and a lot of practice in order to fully understand things about the game, where he thinks that Eddie has kind of this natural talent and natural ability that, if he did put in as much practice as bloodyface did, he would be like the best player in the world, if not close to it. And he always like kind of tells him that, but it's insane to think that Eddie has had that much success and practices much less than bloodyface would. But it's kind of cool and kind of goes to show you their different styles and their different paths to kind of get to being the two most successful players in the region.
Definitely. It kind of feels really interesting that Eddie isn't really trying, so to speak, his hardest, and yet so talented. That's the perspective that bloodyface feels, right? That might not be the case. Yeah. Maybe Eddie has actually found the perfect balance, because I'm a big believer that volume does not exactly lead to results. So if you play a lot of games, it doesn't necessarily mean that the more practice that you're able to get in leads to better results. We've been seeing players actually go the opposite end. And I want to call another player in this top four that we have, or this top eight rather, in this group, is that Monsanto seems to be a player that really likes to put in that volume, put in a lot of time, a lot of effort, and a lot of games. And I respect that so much. Sometimes, though, it kind of feels bad when he talks about how many hours he's putting in, and he doesn't feel like he's getting the results. And I do feel like at a certain point, if you were to kind of plot this on a graph, there is diminishing returns after certain hours that you're kind of putting in, and protecting your mental, trusting that you have the process, having the focus and the clarity, getting good sleep, that kind of stuff is really, really important. So being a good Hearthstone player isn't purely just about how many games of Hearthstone you're able to play.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. And, bloodyface is one of those players that does put in a lot of time, but realized pretty early on when he needs to kind of step back. He even said that he took a different approach once he guaranteed won his week in guaranteed Division A. That he started approaching things much more theoretically and not like all-out practice, and made sure he got good rest and things like that. His pride won't let him not try hard in weeks, but kind of approaching it differently, I think is the big thing there. But getting into it, we got ourselves another Turtle Mage versus Priest. I said this is the kind of the conclusion of the best of three, since both these guys beat each other once throughout the Swiss portion of this week of Grandmasters. And I also said that bloodyface, even though this is the primary deck because it's specialist and they have to queue the primary deck in game one, he does have a secondary deck that I think is the only Priest deck that gives him a good advantage in the entire field against the Turtle Mage. Or maybe not an advantage, but increases his percentage points by a decent amount, whereas everybody else is just kind of queuing their primary over and over again as Priest. So good call on bloodyface to bring something to have an answer to the Turtle Mage.
Yeah, it just seems to play, tech cards that can help in the matchup. And you said it best. Maybe it doesn't put him as the favorite to win this matchup, but it certainly helps. Gain back some percentage points at the worst. So feel like this is definitely a good opportunity for bloodyface to maybe get that win now, because I think he would rather avoid having to play Saiyan or Monsanto unnecessarily if he didn't have to. So we shall see. Going to game number 1, Eddie doesn't have the Seer Sapien. Seemed like he had been drawing that at a pretty high clip, but finally not really seeing that be the case here. I wonder if bloodyface wants to hold on to Zephyrus here, because you could play it for tempo. And it is an option. He does have a curve, even, right? With the Zephyrus turn 3 play, either Volpare Scoundrel or whatever Zephyrus gives you. And then going from there. But is that overextending and missing kind of the whole point of this matchup and what's really crucial?
Well, Zephyrus is not necessarily always part of, always a crucial part of the matchup. That's why I kind of just feel like playing it. Reason being is because the crucial parts of this matchup are largely on Eddie's side. It's largely on him to curate his hand in a way where he's not playing into the failure points of the deck, trying his best not to draw both Potions of Illusions, trying to make sure that the turns that he plays Tortollan Pilgrims, he's safe and doesn't overextend. It doesn't fill up his hand enough to where he can keep that Potion of Illusion chain rolling. That's largely where the game lies. Bloodyface is looking for Mind Render or Lucia, and some minor opportunities to seize tempo and put pressure on, without the expense of Mind Render Lucia. So it's pretty straightforward when you put it like that, but it can get complicated once we get to the point where Eddie has almost guaranteed his win condition, and then we have to dig deep to find alternate win conditions for Bloodyface. So that's kind of what we're going to look at here. But Eddie does have the Lorekeeper Polkelt, which is the way to ensure that he will draw all of his stuff in order. The only downside of the Lorekeeper Polkelt is that it does put you on a clock, because after a certain amount of time, you will draw the Potions of Illusions. You can, unless you draw Sphere, where you won't draw Sphere of Sapience, so unless you draw it before that, that is a guaranteed clock. So Eddie has to think long and hard before he plays his Polkelt, because as soon as he does, it is a race to win the game.
Yeah, very much so. We've seen it happen so many times before with the clock being extended. It is the version that has fewer 5-drops, though.
What to do?
So timing is of the essence here for Eddie. And there is upside to holding on the Pole Kit. It's just that it's expensive relative to this curve. Like, he's got a lot of other cheaper cards he could end up filling out this mana slot with and just get a little bit more presence on the board right now.
All right.
It does seem good.
Start the clock, Dan. It's not actually a timed clock. It's a turned clock.
I was about to say, I'm like, since when do we put timers on things in Hearthstone, I guess, outside of turn timers?
All right.
Not really the case.
So, taking stock of the list here from Eddie, he will draw Tortollan Pilgrim, then Tortollan Pilgrim, then a combination of 2 Kartut Defenders and a Blizzard, then Sunreaver Warmage, then Jandis, then his Potions of Illusion. So he's got time before his Potions of Illusions. The problem herein lies, he can't really start winning the game until he plays Sunreaver Warmage. Until he draws Sunreaver Warmage. And there's still 4 turns until that happens.
Right.
And until then, he can't play Tortollan Pilgrims because he doesn't have enough mana to utilize the Tortollan Pilgrims. The third is, I guess this isn't a big one because he will draw the second Blizzard before Sunreaver Warmage, but I was going to say he doesn't want to part ways with Blizzard because that's his activation, but he'll draw the second one. So he needs to make sure he keeps the board in check enough to where he can actually play his first Tortollan Pilgrim for just Potion of Illusion. Because that's kind of the rough spot you run into with aggressive decks where the first Tortollan Pilgrim has to be Potion of Illusion.
Right.
So you get the chain rolling.
You take damage.
And then you take damage, and then the second one is when you start freezing. So he needs to find a way to get himself to a board state where he can not die the turn he plays Tortollan Pilgrim for only a potion. Which Bloodyface's goal now is going to be to prevent that at all costs, which means develop as much power as possible, protect your board, and that's it. Yeah, I mean, got a Blizzard.
Right. And I think that's kind of where the argument is about that Lord Keeper that we're talking about. Is that did he need to start drawing the Tortillon tokens right now versus later? And I think Eddie said that, I think that I'm going to be having to play these cards in this specific turn order anyways, right? He thought he might have the Frost Nova Blizzard and then coin the Tortillon and just hope that he can protect as much HP as possible. And then from Bloodyface's side, how can he best pressure to prevent this from happening? As you can see that he is stacking a very high amount of pressure on the board. There's 16 power represented, which is more than half of Eddie's life here. Good news is that Bloodyface already used Zephyrus, so it's not like he has closing potential.
Yeah.
Job's done.
Can he find the damage? Because this is going to be the turn from Eddie. This is the only turn that he can go Tortillon. Oh, actually...
Right. So now he doesn't have to play the Tortillon, but he loses the Cartoot Defender because your opponent would just push through it, and then you can't copy the Cartoot Defender. And having access to heal like that could be really crucial. But if he does play the Cartoot Defender this turn, he's most likely going to be able to survive, and then he can Tortillon Pilgrim, coin Tortillon Pilgrim, and then start the chain that way. And he'll be drawing another one. So the next card is the other Blizzard at this point.
Or second Cartoot Defender.
Right.
Yeah, I think...
Do we Blizzard here?
No, you need the Potion of Illusion.
Yeah, you need the one.
You need protection from Mind Render.
Right, that makes sense.
I don't think there's a way that he can find the... Actually, Renew Raise Dead?
Oh, okay.
You're in my hands.
Tortillon Pilgrim Raise Dead?
Pilgrim. I mean, there's only one target with 5 or more attack, right?
Well,
there's two. His own Tortillon Pilgrim.
His own, yeah.
Oh, no! Ah, what a disaster. What was he looking for specifically with his deck list here?
I don't know.
Okay, so he plays Lazul Scheme, Raise Dead, Renew, Wave of Apathy, Penance. He's already played that. Thought Steal, Apotheos is what you just saw. Breath of the Infinite, Shadow Madness, Shadow Word, Ruin. I think that's probably what he's looking for. Oh no, he has it in his hand.
He has it in his hand. I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know why he wouldn't just renew first.
Right.
Okay, so how much power did he have on board? He had 7 plus 7. He had 14 plus 2. He had 16. If he renews, hits Raise Dead, gets Zephyrus, Bloodlust is lethal.
Agreed.
And there hadn't been that many minions that had died that game. I know that Renew is not the... it's not a spell from your deck. It's just a random spell, and the odds of hitting Raise Dead are actually pretty low because there's a lot of spells. But if I'm given an option to win the game on the spot, I'm taking it.
You're in my hands now.
No matter how small it is.
That might be the one window Bloodyface might has to win the game for the rest of this. It could be the last time he has a chance to win for the rest of this series, even, right? Like, you gotta take that opportunity when you can. Because the mage is so good at isolating and shutting out your board, and Bloodyface has no direct damage, and with Eddie having a full hand, gonna be tricky.
So, I'm not sure if Eddie did that intentionally, but he had the option not to fill up his hand if he went with the Tortillon Pilgrim.
What's his next draw?
It's either Blizzard or Cartoot Defender. Oh no, it's Cartoot Defender. Actually, I don't think he needs the Cartoot Defender.
Okay. Just want to make sure that we didn't have both and then we burned the Sunreaver Moor Mage.
If he did that one turn later, yeah, it would have been it would have been a 50-50 between Jandis and Sunreaver, which is not a situation you want to be in.
Just don't want that to be the case, you know. Want to be a competitive game. Radiance Lazur scheme. There you go, TJ. Results-oriented thinking. It wasn't raised dead. Shut up. You don't know anything.
I'm an idiot.
That's right.
Casters are always wrong.
My hand is too full.
All right, so Eddie could actually just kind of hold with this board state himself too. He doesn't actually have to do anything too much here because bloodyface's board has not really done much either. I'm kind of intrigued by the idea of maybe just like Blizzard and trading a little bit. You actually don't want to keep your board too full, which is definitely an issue as you continue to play more of this deck. You start to identify that having board full of 1/1s is cool, but don't want to.
All right, so
you don't want to be limited by your battle cries.
Yeah. The Tortollan on the far left was played last, so his order right now is he'll get 2 Tortollans, then a fire, then a
What to do? Time runs out on me.
oh my gosh, I can't remember the name right now. Firebrand, whatever it's called.
You're in my hands now.
Yeah, it is a Firebrand.
Yeah. Oh, you're talking about the 3-man 3-4. Yes, the Firebrand.
Yeah. And then he'll get another Tortollan and then a R2. Now he has one. Now he has Tortollan, then Firebrand, then Tortollan.
Oh,
then
can he
Cartoon,
steal
then
this
Tortollan.
Cartoon Defender? Stop the healing from Eddie, so that way he's kind of stuck without healing. Because he knows that the next card will be Sunreaver War Mage.
You think this is you?
So maybe... I don't know how you would do it, though.
You're in my
It'd have to be something ridiculous, like buff his opponent's board, and then do it.
Job's done.
Like, do an Apotheosis, the Firebrand. Alright, War Mage is in the hand. And thus, March is the beginning of the end, potentially, here.
Yeah. So I like the keeping around the Cartoon Defender because you want to kind of weave those in. And the other thing is Eddie has one more draw for Jandis, and then he'll start drawing his potions, and then he's out of time. But as long as he doesn't mess this up, yeah, this should be okay. Because he has Tortollan, or he has Cartoonist first, then War Mage, and then Tortollan. And then another War Mage. So he can actually keep his, yeah, he's going to keep his hand full. He discards the Jandis, which he doesn't need anyway. And he keeps it going. And 22, I think, is...
Tombs.
Yep, I'm not really seeing the way here for bloodyface. Shadow Madness is nice though, to take away just a little bit of healing from his opponent.
Yep, he also has Radiance, so he can actually buy a good amount of time.
Right, he needs to stall, right, to withstand the amount of pressure.
Why didn't he Mind Flare the Cartoon?
There's gonna be more Cartoon Defenders that he can do it too. But he did miss a little bit of development on the board because of it. Also, I think
it's protecting his life total.
Right. That's a good point, and he might actually not have a chance for that Cartoon Defender to become relevant. Because I think I was thinking about also, you know, by not playing it, he won't overheal and thus waste the HP.
Yeah. So this just needs to be a... This Tortollan will get back 4 Sunreavers.
Yeah, and just, I mean, he's got burst from hand next turn. And that should be all she wrote, unless bloodyface was able to draw the specific card that he needed to deal with it. And I think, I mean, he just knows that he's going to be dead on board because of the 3 Sunreaver War Mages in the hand. I guess the Radiance does keep him alive, and it does give him a slight opportunity for him to find an opportunity to maybe lethal. I think maybe that's what he was looking for, like the Mind Flayer, not the Mind Flayer, the Mind Render Elucia to come out. But it was optimistic to say the least, and it still looks like to be the case right now. And I think that bloodyface is dead.
Not quite.
Job done.
Sorry, in the big grand scheme of things. But right now, he's clearly going to try to survive. It's a pretty interesting play to actually buff your own minion and kill it to summon the card 2 defender.
Because Eddie needs to trade off for board space, which means... because he only has 3 War Mages in hand. So he needs 5 board space to kill him. And he can't trade off enough board space to not heal him, which ups his board space requirement to 6. And then he needs to trade in another one, which upgrades his board requirements to 7. So this is smart from bloodyface. And oh no, I forgot. He has an extra 4 mana card. He has the Escape Mana Saber in his deck. So it's actually delays the potions by 1 more. Oh jeez.
Yep. It's pretty brutal. Oh, wow. That's 5 War Mages in the hand. And a lot of damage coming in. He can even hero power his own board.
Yep.
Needs to make more room for it. And I think he will. Stone Pilgrim. Actually, he needs to copy. Oh, he's just going to go for it here. Right, because if he has Plague of Death, he can just go ahead and kill him. Wretched Tutor Radiance. Okay, staying alive.
Oh!
I mean, he's got another potion.
Yeah, because he's guaranteed draws the potion. Yeah, he guaranteed draws the potion. That's a really smart setup from Eddie.
It is. It's very smart. Just cut the turns
Wait,
by
no,
1.
maybe it's not. Because what if Mind Render comes out and he dumps the Sunreavers?
Yeah, it's good. Do you have board space to do that? I think maybe get too many in the hand for it to actually be the case.
I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
either way,
it was almost guaranteed victory at that point, no matter which way you slice it. So, bloodyface tried. I really like the try and heal through the clock phase that he went through at the end there, because if you do heal through all of those potions, very difficult. The potions would have had to come like two turns earlier, which would have meant that the far left cards in Eddie's hand would have had to have been expensive cards. Maybe he gets there because Eddie runs out of War Mages, but once you get to that point, it's very difficult, and that's where bloodyface's secondary deck comes in, which he adds an acidic. It's a tech that's almost purely for Turtle Mage, because it has an acidic Swamp Boost to double down on weapon destructions for Spirit of Sapience. It's got Living Dragon Breath, so Eddie always has to think about that. It's always got to be on the back of his mind when he's just frost-noving things and trying to survive. Boom Pistol Bully, and Headmaster Kel'Thuzad. So Headmaster Kel'Thuzad is a build a board in a box, because they're playing a bunch of 1/1 Tortolan Pilgrims, and if you Headmaster Kel'Thuzad and Holy Nova or Breath of the Infinite, you get a board full of 5/5s. So that's kind of like your win condition. Every single card that he added into a secondary deck seems like it's tailor-made to just beat Turtle Mage.
Yeah, it just seemed like these tech cards are specifically influencing like Eddie's chances or bloodyface's chances against Eddie. Maybe it's the fact that bloodyface, talks to people like Eddie and is, like language hacker, etc., knows they're going to be playing things like Turtle Mage, brings a secondary deck to try to beat them because he anticipates them rising above the field. Either way, it does seem like bloodyface should be in a pretty decent spot here to potentially challenge Eddie. I don't know if that ends up pushing him over the edge. We shall see. Turn 1, Disciple of Galakron. Seems like Priest has been starting off very often with that. Finds a Psychic Conjurer. I wonder if there's any fun things we can do with that card.
Well, I mean, Eddie also changes his deck, as we saw for Priest, as we saw in the first series he played against Monsanto. He takes out the Oozes, the Doomsayers, and a Cartoon for Messenger Ravens, Boom Pistol Bullies, and Sunreaver War Mage. Psychic Conjurer could hit Boom Pistol Bully, in which case you have just extra layers of Boom Pistol Bullies.
Sure.
That's a possibility. That's about the only benefit I think. Choir. It's like Jandis. Potion can sometimes be interesting.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking about, I guess trying to tap into what Eddie's thinking about, which is like where he imagines this cards will be useful. With so many like small things in Priest's arsenal, I don't know how good Mirror Entity is. I guess Devolving Missiles for flexibility and also just kind of dealing with big buffs. Zephyrus. Doesn't seem like there's a applicable Zephyrus usage here. Instead, we just kind of clear off the board and push damage.
Just get pinged off, but honestly, not the biggest of deals.
Right. I mean, this just looks like a pretty straightforward opening here from bloodyface. He's just trying to curve. You know, the Breath of the Infinite, I guess it's because it's not a card that's going to be really valuable, and he really wants to deal with Eddie's early game board. And now, like, you know, his more like board-centric play ends up kind of paying off because he can hold on to the Disciple of Galakron and heal it up a bit. Can start off with the Psychic Conjurer and see what spell he pulls, potentially, or a fun little card.
I don't
keep your thoughts to yourself.
I'm trying to rack my brain for something cool he can use the Zephyrus for. Like, because right now, I mean, yes, the late game could go a lot differently because of the fact that bloodyface has added all these tech cards in.
Right.
Oh no, almost all these are battle cries. Oh jeez.
Yeah.
And so I'm trying to think of like what can Zephyrus do to kind of buy time for that scenario.
Right.
It's hard to fully wrap around. The Headmaster Kel'Thuzad is used just because he doesn't really have anything else. He can't fall too far behind on tempo because then his chance of winning the game go down a lot. Even though the Headmaster Kel'Thuzad plus AoE interaction is sick, when you're looking at a board full of 1/1 high-cost things like Tortollan Pilgrims. Too hopeful to just kind of hold on to that and say, oh, I'm going to get him eventually. If, you know, eventually comes around, you're usually dead.
Yeah, that's a good point, and I think that
Shadow Madness.
that's probably on the forefront of bloodyface's mind. He's hovering over Zephyrus right now. I'm always intrigued by what Zephyrus offers in these kinds of spots where it's not super obvious. Twilight Drake, Shadow Menace, and Mass Dispel. So I guess the Shadow Madness just to be able to deal with his opponent's board. And I guess the slow chug of tempo.
Oh?
I mean, pushing damage might be relevant.
Okay.
It kind of depends on like how you feel like what you feel like is the priority here. By pushing damage and taking away your opponent's healing, do you feel like that's your course? That's the course that which you can go for because you have things like Boom Pistol Bully to really stop your opponent from being able to interact with it. And Eddie has both of his blizzards in his hand.
Oh!
Okay.
Oh, whoa. Okay.
Insta slam.
Whoa!
Finds a potion of illusion right off the bat.
Fireball. Okay, clears the board.
Sure.
Develops a 7/7.
Uh-oh. Dealing damage to
Freezes
himself
itself. Vape Nash. All right. Solid. Oh, Bloodyface can grab the one of it with Madame Lazul.
now. That's pretty cool. Well, I guess for now, just knows that Boom Visibility will cost Eddie most of his turn, and also shuts off the ability for Totilan Pokemon to go into turn number 8.
I mean, Solarium Prime can still be played.
Oh, and Lower Keyword Polka can't avoid the restack. TJ, there's a possibility.
Yeah. Second potion could be the very next card.
Yeah, honestly, Boom Visibility already doing work with the tech card. Imprisoned Observer?
And Shimmerfly? Are those good? They're annoying.
Right. I guess I'm wondering from Eddie's perspective, he just wants to play the Solarium Prime right here. But at the risk of drawing cards and potentially destroying his win condition, I think he's going to go ahead and chill.
Ooh, tracking.
I mean, tracking to find exactly what, though.
Oh, he hit it!
He sees it!
Oh, yeah.
TJ, it's time! I guess he's going to do his due diligence first.
Youthful Brewmaster!
Youthful Brew. Well, it's going to return it to his full cost, but I mean, the thing is, now Bloodyface actually might have lethal outs in the sense that Solarium Prime can target Eddie's face and burn him.
All right, that's cool.
Yeah, I mean, it's looking possible for Bloodyface to do it. Lazul scheme.
Wow!
He wants to steal the healing? Because if he anticipates card 2 Defender and other cards like that, Cabal Acolyte can steal it? That was the card I think I was expecting the least, TJ, quite frankly. And I am very intrigued by that.
I wonder.
If power is what you seek, knowledge is what I provide.
I have become one with the void.
Yeah, he kind of has to go in bulk out here because he can't afford to draw the second potion.
Right.
So he's on a clock once again, but this is kind of a necessary beast just because of the fact that he already has a potion in hand. Oh, wow.
Sure. Polymorph.
I mean, that's just a nice,
Yeah.
nice little average Solarium Prime there. Not bad.
Yeah. Pretty reasonable. And also, the disruption is really annoying for Bloodyface with all those secrets. It's actually kind of tricky from this point for Bloodyface to navigate because of all the stuff. And a potion of illusion to get more Solarium Primes. Is that just the line here for Eddie? Oh. It's starting to get kind of ridiculous at this point.
Yeah. I mean, on, what was it, day 1 or day 2 of our Turtle Mage, our venture into the Turtle Mage hemisphere, I said that Solarium Prime made its way into the deck because it gave you like alternative win conditions if you weren't able to get your Sunreaver War Mage or Nightblade back then online. You could keep copying those and keep doing it until you burned out. Obviously much less consistent because you could also just draw cards, fatigue yourself, that type of thing. But I added kind of an extra layer in.
Right.
But now it's like he's got both. He can just choose both. That's where the tough decisions come in, because how much do you really want to play Solarium Prime because of the The fact he control. Oh, he just potioned the lizard.
Oh!
He doesn't have hand space.
Twice!
Oh my god.
What?
Oh.
Oh, jeez.
Hello.
Dude, this has turned into like a Highlander Mage mirror with a bunch of puzzle boxes. What a weird dynamic happening right now in this game.
I have become one with the void.
Oh, jeez. Okay, deep freeze. One target he didn't really want. Oh, he's drawing cards. Third secret. War Mage finally in the hand here, and kind of that timer we were talking about. Firebrand and some damage spells can help clear this up with the Blizzard. I guess Ray of Frost helps dump the hand better. I think he has hand space issues right now.
He does.
Turn it up.
All right, that's a reasonably big board, and Bloodyface does not have the AoE to deal with it naturally because he doesn't have Kronks up, and even then he'd be a little bit off. Shall we go one more time, TJ?
Yes, we shall.
All right.
I know it is because Eddie keeps drawing cards. His next card is Jandis, and then after that it's either Potion or the Escape Mana Saver.
Blast. Okay. Font of Power. I mean, pretty
Counterspell could be interesting,
mediocre
actually.
stuff. At least it wasn't a catastrophe.
Do you Imitation the Solarian Prime? What is that card called? The 6 mana, deal 4 damage if it kills it.
Yeah, but I think you summon it.
You do, but
You
you
get a
get a
copy to
7.
your hand. Okay.
No, you summon it, but you get a
Right.
7/7 with spell damage.
Right. But
That's
I mean,
like the biggest thing he can develop. I guess he could Mind Flayer his opponents.
Right.
Yeah, Card 2 Defender, Mind Flayer your opponent's Solarian Prime.
Yeah, that does look like to be the best possible option.
Because I don't know if you want to like even kill anything on your opponent's side, because you want to make it. I guess he could just kill it off himself. I don't know. That gets awkward. Oh, I forgot about the Boom Pistol Blade. There's actually way more draws until the Potion. There's the second War Mage. There's the
We do this every time.
Boom Pistol
Oh
Blade.
wait, there's more.
Well, yeah,
The
I mean
Pexus Blast.
Specialist.
Rolling
man.
Fireball. Does some pretty good AoE. Another secret, another freeze. Another random spell. Power creation.
Huh. Play that.
Sure. Oh, the counter spell on the other side. He needs to save this last this last Blizzard for his Sunreaver War Mage, and this game has kind of gone off the rails some, TJ. But
Yeah, well, he has power creation now
tempo-
for it.
right. I was just gonna say the tempo on Eddie's side is still pretty firm.
Knowledge is what
Yep.
I provide.
Ah, jeez. He hasn't even started going off with his Tortolan combo yet. So,
Right.
ridiculous this has been.
It's pretty far deviated, that's for sure. There's 4 secrets up from Mage. Just want to point that out. Counterspell blocks the Lazul scheme, but he still doesn't have all the rest of the secrets down pat yet.
A simple
Can test more for Cobalt Spellkin. Okay, Seasonal Mirror Entity.
Now Radiance will activate his Firebrand to clear off the board from Eddie's side. There will also summon a Netherwind Portal. Ah, not quite clears off the board. Still leaves the
Little bit off.
Replicatotron,
That's right.
which Nah, it's not bad for Eddie.
Your mind.
I was gonna say.
Sure.
He's gonna
okay.
transform his Tortolans into something else. But
can go
he can just
ahead
trade it
and
off,
just
and
trade
it's
it
also end of turn, so it doesn't matter when he's using potions.
Right.
And now
So here we
Eddie
go.
can start.
You're in my hands now.
So it
Oh,
begins.
All this game just so we
You're
can
in
get
my
to
hands
this game.
now.
Yeah, and I like that because I think from Eddie's perspective, it's pretty much like having different paths that lead to the same destination here.
Yeah.
Living Dragon Breath, I mean, the moment Bloodyface picks up that card, though, how much pressure would be going the opposite way? That's kind of why he needs that card right now.
Yeah. Ray's dead. There's been a couple Solarian primes.
I wonder. Life and hope are worth fighting.
Oh, here we go.
Oh no, it's a
The
Netherdamus! Why does it keep appearing in every one of these matchups?
A new
He's got an out, Dan.
Okay,
I mean, he's got.
if you say so.
You're in my
Stone Pilgrim to get it back.
There's a boom
And
possibility
I think
there, right?
because he's on kind of a tighter clock, he's really going to have to kind of keep pushing the damage and pushing the pace here.
A new Valore Delano.
So if he does this, he gets near the back and go ahead and play
Now.
2 more of them and then end the turn.
You're in my hands now. You're in my hands now.
Time runs out on me.
Double Frost Nova, interesting. Wants to keep his hand.
Yeah.
Oh, because the Mind Render doesn't want to create too many War Mages in the hand. That makes sense. And then from here, Bloodyface finds the Cabal Shadow Priest, but he is limited by board space now. Very unfortunate that he loaded up so much pressure. Still, no living Dragon Breath to be found. Kind of desperate at this point.
Mistake.
Ray's dead! Find Solarian Prime! Oh no.
It is finished.
Yeah, looks like Bloodyface might be mentally defeated. That's a concede. Eddie advances 2-0. I mean, these were just kind of crushing games from Eddie's side. Super dominant. The tech from Bloodyface not really paying off there. I mean, he really needed Living Dragon Breath, right? It was that or bust. And you can see why tech cards sometimes don't even really come into play in these kinds of short bursts. The reason why you put tech cards is because you need to play larger sample size on ladder in order to really get those results that you're looking for. And so people are like, just tech in Living Dragon Breath. Come on, I even know that, right? Like as a viewer, you can look at that and just like, why aren't the GMs just doing that? You just saw why. Because you still have to draw it, and the game still has to call for that situation, and even then, you still might not win. Eddie's going to advance and win Group B and go yet again to his 3rd consecutive top 4 this season.
Yeah, which is insane. And also, wins the best of 3 against Bloodyface throughout the weekend. So it can definitively say that he had the upper hand on him throughout. The only revenge that Bloodyface can now hope for is to win out and then face Eddie in the finals again. And, trying to at least even up the score and win the week. He's got either Monsanto or Saiyan going to come up to face him in the decider matchup. So I'm sure he's kind of rooting for Monsanto just because even though his series against Saiyan went pretty well earlier, I feel like no priest is ever super comfortable against Malagos Druid. Because if they draw super well, sometimes it just feels like you can't win. You just get 30'd. Whereas priest mirror is kind of crazy, but at least you kind of feel like you have some agency at certain points in the game. I don't know. I honestly don't know what I'd hope for in that situation. As a viewer and caster, I'd hope that it's just a couple of priest versus druids remaining, and there's no priest mirror to be found. But I don't know from the player's perspective.
Yeah, you can pretty much just hope that it's competitive at that point.
Yeah.
Like